welcome to the Freedom Dreamer Live. Today we have, Freedom Dreamer Live with Marsha Foster. That's me. I got excited because of my guest. We're coming to you live from the studios of Freedom Dreamer Photography in historic downtown Rogers. And this is our third show. We're really excited to be here with you today. If you would like a show like this for your business, let us know and I will hook you up with my production team. I decided to start this show because I'm passionate about a lot of different subjects, and my guests will all cover those subjects, sometimes more than one, but I want to let you know the things that I'm really passionate about. It's a list, so I'm going to read it for you. Women's empowerment, art, including writers, musicians, visual artists, and filmmakers, community, outdoors and conservation, which is what my guest today is covering, spirituality, personal development, financial freedom, and health and fitness. That pretty much encompasses everything I'm passionate about in my life. Did you hear anything in there you liked?
All of it.
Good. If you're joining us live, let us know you're here. Hey, Jim and Teresa. Teresa's here. Awesome. So today I'd like to welcome someone to the show that I greatly admire. And so today I want to introduce to you Heather Machelle.
Hello.
So thanks for taking the time to come and talk to us today.
Thank you. I feel honored.
Oh, well, I'm honored to have you here. You're kind of, I fangirl a little bit. I do.
You shouldn't, but
I do. So I wanted to let you know how I met Heather. A couple of years ago, I was on Facebook one day and I ran up on a crowdfunding campaign for a girl who was wanting to hike the Appalachian Trail, and that was Heather. And so I donated to the crowdfunding campaign because I'm very passionate about my dreams and I want to help other people follow their dreams. So it wasn't a lot, but I donated a little bit to her crowdfunding campaign, and then I invited her to come to the studio and talk to me, which was probably way more beneficial for me than it was for her.
No, it was really beneficial for me, and thank you so much because as soon as you did that, I just reached out to you and thought, I've really got to meet this lady. I really want to meet Marsha.
Oh.
So coming over here it was a really great conversation too.
Yeah, it really
we talked
was.
For a while.
We did. We talked for like 2 hours.
Yeah, it was a really long time, but that was great.
I was kind of selfish though because I was wanting to pick your brain because you've done things that I want to do. So I was wanting to find out what was going on in your head and how you were planning all that. But we're going to get to talking about all that. So as I said, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you from Northwest Arkansas?
I am actually from East Arkansas, McCory, a really small town, population 1,300. Let's see, and I've been around, moved to Memphis, moved to Little Rock, moved to Northwest Arkansas about 5 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot longer than that.
Yeah, only 2012 is when I moved in here.
And a lot has happened since then.
A lot has happened. Moving to Northwest Arkansas really changed my whole life.
I can see that. You have a really big tribe too, don't you?
I think so.
Yeah.
For some reason, I have a lot of people around me that are doing really great things, and it has caused me to do great things. And every day I wake up and all my friends, I'm just like, I can't believe I know this person. They are so wonderful, knowing you and knowing everyone that's in my life.
Well, I feel that way about you.
Well, thanks.
And we've got to do some stuff together soon.
Yeah, let's do that.
So let's get down to business.
Okay.
I very much admire you for your ability to stick with your dreams, to dream your dreams, and then to stick with them and follow through. So what I'm talking about, obviously, is your 2016 hike of the Appalachian Trail. So, in case you don't know, the Appalachian Trail is 2,200 miles long. It goes from Georgia to Maine, or Maine to Georgia, depending on which way you decide to hike it.
Yes, true.
So,
2,189.
Yes, yeah. Well, I rounded. So, what inspired you to take this trip?
When I moved up here, I'd already done like a lot of hiking. Well, not a lot, but I'd hiked a little bit before. And when I moved here in 2012, I was 27, and I thought, I'm like, oh my gosh, 30 is about to come. Like, I need to do something big for 30.
30 bothered me worse than 40.
Yeah.
It did.
And so I thought, I've really got to do, and I was kind of at a weird phase in my life. I was kind of depressed, and so I didn't know how to handle that. So I just started going out and hiking and going out into the Ozarks. Yeah.
So just on day hikes?
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I had a dog. So he was kind of the one that pushed me to that because I was like, oh, I can't keep him inside. So we started going to the Ozarks, started hiking a lot. And then one day I was riding with one of my friends from high school, this guy, and we were talking about turning 30, and he was brought up the Appalachian Trail. I'd never heard about it before, but something inside of me just said, okay, let's go do it. Let's go do it. Let's start planning this. And I started looking it up. And then I became obsessed with it, like severely obsessed.
And I just feeling there's a few things I've been obsessed about.
I had never really been that obsessed about something, so I thought this has to mean something. So I started telling people that I was going to do this in 2016, the year that I turned 30.
So how
long
was
2 years
between the time you first heard about the AT and when you actually went? What was that planning phase?
It was about 2 years.
Oh, that long?
It was
huh?
a really long time.
That's a big buildup.
Yeah, it was. I think everyone got tired of me talking about it too.
and then I said, "Come tell me," and I'm just dragging it out of you.
Yeah, anyone that wanted to listen, I'm like, yeah, let me talk about it.
That's why you came. You found someone who would listen to you.
Oh no, but I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And so I just put it out in the universe, and everything started just happening and coming together.
Exactly.
And then I set a date, and I decided I was going to go southbound, which is starting in Maine and ending in Georgia. And only 10% of thru hikers, a thru hiker is someone that does a trail in completion, like all the way through in one
time.
Year. Only 10% of thru hikers do it southbound. So I thought, well, if I start in Maine and I end in Georgia and I'm out of money, then I can make it back to Arkansas. Easier than if I was in Maine and was up there and stuck.
That makes sense.
So it was about money.
That makes sense.
And then, so I started so I guess that was like 2 years. And in the meantime, like a lot of stuff happened. My dad passed away.
During your planning phase?
During my planning phase. And I almost didn't go and do the Appalachian Trail because of that. And I was born on my dad's birthday. My dad was my best friend, and it took a lot out of me. Just mentally, just losing my best friend.
Were you able to turn that into inspiration to go, though?
Very much, because he would talk about it all the time. And
he was proud of you already, even though you hadn't done it.
Even though I hadn't even done it. And so Mom told me one time that that's all he talked about a lot was I was going to go do this. And so I decided to go with it and do it.
I love that.
Yeah. So I booked that flight.
I want to pick something out of what you said there. You said things started falling into place for you once you made the decision. So I'm a firm believer that when you make a decision to do something and you put it out there in the universe, I love how you said that because that's how I talk. You put it out there in the universe and the stars start aligning and things start coming into place. I know that it was that way with me a couple years ago whenever I did my first big fine art project. I made the decision. I even wrote a contract with myself. Did you write a contract with yourself?
I wrote some, if I do this or if I don't do this, how will I feel? Which is from a book that I read, Appalachian Trials. So if anyone wants
I've heard of that, but I haven't read it. I need to read it.
And he wrote that in there, and so I did that.
Part of the reason I avoid reading hiking books is because I get all antsy and I'm not at the point where I can go, and I struggle with being an all or nothing person, and I get all antsy and I'm like, I want to go do this epic hike, and then I'm like, duh, Marsha, you can go out for a couple of days, right?
Yeah, or an hour, 2 hours, or
we should go anything. We should go out together. You should.
I'll plan this, we can do it.
Anyway, my point with all of that was when you make a decision and you put that out there into the universe, things start happening to make your dreams come true, and that's what happened for you, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about preparing for your trip. You brought a visual for us.
Okay, well, first of all, let me start off by saying I had no idea what I was doing when I first started. And I also got a sponsorship became a thru hike syndicate. And this is that, like, I put it out in the universe, and then I became a thru hike syndicate for this company that sponsors you gear.
Thru hike syndicate, what does that mean?
You're just a syndicate for these companies. So you blog and post pictures and things like this for them.
And you use their gear.
I did. But I started the trail with a lot of their gear and ended up realizing that some of that gear wasn't for me. So I changed. So when I started the Appalachian Trail, I think my pack weight was like 37 pounds, which is...
That's what I hike with, 38. 38 is light for me.
I'll help you now.
I know, but I'm always afraid I'm going to be hungry, thirsty, or cold. So
Best advice I ever got was from Poet, who owns a hostel in Monson, Maine. And he said, and I think I told this to you a couple weeks ago, you pack your fears. I went from a 65-liter backpack to a 36-liter. So this isn't the one I did on the AT, but it's very similar. So it's the same size. So
nice
I went
and
from
dirty. I love
very
that.
dirty.
That means it's been used.
Yes, this one's very used. And so this one I did the Continental Divide Trail, the Colorado Trail, and bike tour with. So
I forgot to ask you that. Did you wear this when you bike also?
Oh no, I actually had it in my bag, rolled down, and I went hiking
on your saddlebags.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I took little hiking trips on my bike trail, on my bike tour.
Nice.
So I'd stop, tie my bike up around a post somewhere, and then hike, and then come back. Bike wasn't gone because it was in Utah. But anyway.
So what does this bag weigh when it's packed and ready to go?
So let's say 3 days with food and water, about 20 pounds, 22 pounds.
With
Depends
3
on how
days
much.
worth of food and water.
Mm-hmm. Well, water, you carry about 1 liter or 2 liters, depending on how much water you have ahead of you.
Right.
So this is a 36 liter. And so when I started the Appalachian Trail, my base weight was 37 pounds. And when I changed...
That's where I am usually.
Yeah.
That's light for me,
That's where a lot of people are before they do a long distance hike, which is like 25 to 37 pounds. So during that time, I ended up getting a new pack and reevaluating everything I had in there. So I went from 37 pounds. My base weight was 9 pounds. And then my camera. That's before food and water.
Okay, that's your base weight. That's without food and water. Okay.
Right. So say you have 3 days worth of hiking and you have like 2 liters worth of water and food or whatever. I would say 18 to 20 pounds.
That's ultralight.
That's really ultralight. For me, it's ultralight.
Right.
There are people I know that go way far.
So would you have a tent in there?
I had a tent, a sleeping bag. So on the Appalachian Trail, I had a tent, I had a sleeping bag, I had a blow-up pad that you sleep on.
You're talking about at your 38 pounds or at your
This
18?
is for the Appalachian Trail.
Okay, so when you started the AT. Okay.
Yeah. So a sleeping bag, a tent, a sleeping pad, a cooking stove, which was a little tiny thing. Oh, I changed. So it actually started with a pocket rocket, that you light and it canisters or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I guess about 500 miles in, I made an alcohol stove out of a cat food can.
Nice.
Because I was like, I'm going to be ultra light and cool.
You're going to hack.
So I made a alcohol stove out of a cat food can, which was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Thank you, Stitch. Stitch is the one who, anyway. And you learn from people out there. And then I had like food and the Appalachian Trail guidebook.
You gotta have your guidebook.
And then you have to have this. It tells you like where shelters, water, whatnot is. And then some miscellaneous things in there. 1 pair of shorts, 1 pair of leggings, 1 night shirt, and 1 sleep shirt. But it got so hot, I literally just wore the same thing.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again.
I think I remember seeing a post where you had on a shirt and you were like, I'm going to see how dirty I can get it.
So that was on the Continental Divide Trail. I bought a white shirt.
To see how bad it would
I still
get.
have it. It's filthy.
You still have
like
it
my hair
washed
color.
or unwashed?
It's washed in my closet.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've decided to make your summer adventures an annual event.
Well, yes.
Sort of. But I mean, so you hiked the AT in 2016, and then in 2017, you decided to have some other adventures. Tell us about what you did in 2017.
In 2017, so when I finished the Appalachian Trail in 2016, I came back, and I didn't know how to act. I didn't know how I felt. I was like, oh my gosh, I felt everyone's emotions. It was super intense, and I thought, well, the only thing to make this feel good is to keep hiking. So I decided I was going to Triple Crown, which is hiking all 3 long-distance trails in the United States, which is Pacific Crest Trail, Continental Divide Trail, and the AT. So I'm like, I'm going to do this. And so I ended up moving to Austin, Texas. And then from Austin, I started planning my Pacific Crest Trail hike for 2017. And then 3 days before my flight, a hiker that I knew, Puma and Sonic, convinced me to go hike the Continental Divide Trail with them,
Instead of by yourself, same trail, but doing it with them.
Yes.
Okay.
A different trail.
A different trail.
I was going to hike the Continental Divide Trail.
And then you decided to do the what?
Well, I was going to go hike the Pacific Crest Trail, sorry. And then I decided to go do the Continental Divide Trail.
Okay.
So anyway, I changed plans and had to do like food resupply in 2 days, right? So I went and hiked the Continental Divide Trail. Mm-hmm. And I started July 7th. We started July 7th last year. And
is that a late start?
We went southbound. So we started in Canada in Glacier National Park. That's about typically whenever southbounders start on the Continental Divide Trail.
Okay.
And we got to Darby, Montana. There were about 23 active fires in Montana. And I'd had some pretty good days leading up and then one day I woke up and decided, I think I need to do something different. Like it was this overwhelming feeling of, I think I've accomplished what I need to accomplish, and I'm going to go do something else with no idea what I was going to do or what would happen. I just knew that I needed to get off the trail. And it was a good day.
And you didn't feel like a quitter?
I didn't. Which, in my mind, I'm like, I went back and forth.
Your rational mind was probably saying, I'm a quitter.
Yes. And also thinking like, oh, what will social media think? Like, because we think about that.
Isn't that terrible that
horrible.
we make decisions based on what we think people on social media are going to think of us?
It's horrible.
Why do we even feel like we have a responsibility to report what we're doing? And we have no responsibility to report, but yet your story had already been there, and so you felt the need, or you felt the responsibility to continue that story.
Right. So doing the Appalachian Trail, beginning to end and accomplishing that, there were moments where I wanted to quit, but within myself, I knew it was not right for me to get off the trail. And it's not quitting, it's just doing something different. And so finishing that in the Continental Divide Trail, I realized, I think I'm good right now. Like, I think I'm going to see where this takes me, see what happens. And I didn't know what was going to happen. So I ended up leaving my hiking friends, which was very emotional, because they're like, what are you talking about? And
they think you've lost your mind at this point,
They're like, just give it one more day, give it 2 more days.
They think that you're just having a weak moment, and they're going to get you through it.
Yeah, which they would have.
They would have, but it wasn't a weak moment. It was a moment where you knew.
I think I would have continued to have those feelings.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a place on the trail that I could have gotten off. I could have easily gotten back on with them at any time and been like, oh, I just skipped a section. So I ended up going into Darby, Montana, and sitting there thinking, I think I'm going to bike back to Arkansas. And said, all right, so I'm just going to see what happens. So I ended up meeting these bikers that were on the Transamerica, and they also
And we're talking about bicycles, not
motorcycles. Even though that would have been really cool and taken a lot less time. So I ended up going with them to Missoula, Montana, and going to the Adventure Cycling Association. And there was a bike for sale there that was my size. And
it was meant for you.
Just right in front of my eyes. Like, really cheap. I even walked around the whole building contemplating on whether I should buy it or not. And then I was like, is this
the walk
for
of
real?
Contemplation?
Is this for real? Is this happening? And so I ended up the next morning trying the bike out and bought it. And then I thought, well, what am I going to do? And a friend had invited me to go hike the Colorado Trail in Colorado. So I shipped that bike to Denver to a friend's house. And then I flew to Denver and then took a bus to Gunnison, Colorado, and got on the Colorado Trail and hiked 185 miles with him, Scooter, till Durango. So I did half of the Colorado Trail. And then I rode back to Denver, took a bus from, well, first of all, I said, which way am I going to ride my bike home? So I looked at a map, and the only way, like if I went on the Transamerica, was through Kansas and Oklahoma back to Arkansas. And I thought, that sounds so boring. So,
and I'm sure it would have been.
And hot.
I've driven it.
Yeah, and so and I'd never been to Utah, so I took a train from Denver to Grand Junction, Colorado. And then from Grand Junction, I rode all the way to Flagstaff, Arizona. And during that time, it was crazy. I stopped at all these state parks. I ended up staying on a goat farm for 5 days.
Which you're going back to this summer, right?
Maybe.
Okay.
It's kind of changed since the last time we talked.
We'll have to talk about that.
And so if I would have never listened to my intuition and my gut, I would have never met any of these people that I now have these great bonds with. I never would have been true to my feelings and my intuition, because it's so hard to listen to.
This backpacking, outdoors is personal development. Yeah. I truly believe that. I never get in the outdoors and come back and am not a better person than I was when I left. It's impossible. Yeah. You can't be. You can't not be a better person.
You start to question things, a lot of things, and listening to yourself a lot more.
Exactly. I know the times that I've hiked with my hiking buddy Monica, you forget about your decision-making changes. So the normal ways that you make decisions is different, because all of the stuff that you deal with in daily life is not there. And so your rationalization skills become different, and they become more keen, I think.
Yes.
And
well, you're dealing with different
side note is I get lost every time I hike. But
I have gotten lost. For sure.
Or we hike the wrong way, because one time we were hiking and Monica said, "Shouldn't the sun be behind us?" And we had already been hiking for a mile. So we backtrack a lot. We do that stuff, but we learn. So I wanted to tell you, one of your friends, Jennifer, is online, and
Jennifer.
She said that she never got tired of hearing you talk about the AT.
That's really sweet, because a lot of people do.
A lot of people are like, "Oh God, here comes Heather, and she's talking about that stupid trail again."
It's true. I have to be quiet sometimes.
Well, we have so much still to talk about, and so to keep the show at a manageable level, we only have a few more minutes, so let's move on. So you're passionate about conservation. Were you passionate about conservation before you started hiking?
I really was, because getting into hiking, when if those weren't there, I mean, we wouldn't be able to go and hike at all. So we do need to reserve a lot of land that we have left for us. So I am passionate about it. And actually, there's something going on with the Buffalo River right now, so we need to also go, and it's on my Facebook, actually.
Okay, so just so people are welcome to find you on Facebook.
Yes.
Heather Machelle. That's Machelle. Heather Machelle, right?
Yes.
So you'll probably get a whole bunch of friend requests after this.
I probably won't. I know, but you can follow me on Instagram, and that's probably better. And it's at Tilt Gravity. Yeah.
Okay. Side note: trail names.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Well, I wanted to talk about trail names a little bit. So your trail name is Lavender. How did that happen?
I carried lavender essential oils on the Appalachian Trail. And
so it stuck.
It stuck, yeah.
So legend has it, my understanding is you're not allowed to give yourself a trail name.
No, not really. No. But I mean, if you wanted to, you could, I guess.
I have a trail name.
What is it?
Dream Blazer.
Dream Blazer? Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, my hiking buddy, she's B.A.
Dream
Nana.
Blazer.
Banana. But it's B.A., capital B.A. Nana. That's Badass Nana.
Badass Nana.
Yeah, my bestie.
I was really jealous because I wanted a really, crazy name, and I ran into a
badass
girl,
name.
A badass name.
But you got Lavender.
I got Lavender, and I'm like, I guess I have to be nice and sweet and whatever.
Smell good.
Smell good. I did not smell good all the time. But
so really, the lavender was just to cover up the stink, right?
Yeah. Okay. I spray it on me all the time, though. I'm just like, it's good to keep the mosquitoes away, to help you sleep, and for a lot of other things, your face. But I ran into a girl whose name was Dirtface, and I thought, that is the coolest name. Why can't I have Dirtface?
Right.
So I started to tell everyone that I wanted the trail name Armpit, because you don't shave when you're out there, and so I had a long
You had some
arm
pit hair.
So they just call me Armpit. But actually, this past year on the Continental Divide Trail, a lot of people started calling me Larry. So Larry is my alter ego trail name.
Okay.
Besides Lavender.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, I imagine someday when I do a really long hike, I'll probably get another trail name.
I like Dream Blazer.
Yeah, but I may have had a little bit of something to do with that. Yeah,
okay.
like I may have pushed in that direction a little bit.
It takes doing something really dumb to get a trail name at.
Yeah. See, I've done some dumb stuff on the trail, let me tell you. Like getting lost every single time. So, so we were talking about conservation. So I wanted to say something that has stood out to me recently that I had never really thought about. One of your pushes for conservation on social media is to think about using straws and how wasteful it is. And I promise you, since I read that post, I have not one time reached for a straw and not thought about you or thought about that post. And I will say there's a few times I'm like, got it anyway.
Yeah.
But there were some times that I didn't get a straw because of that. So tell us about that.
So over the past couple of weeks, I've had this idea of like us, because cities all over the United States are starting to go strawless and focus on their plastic usage. And I lived in Austin, and they have a plastic bag ban. But then here we
plastic bag ban in Houston?
In Austin.
In Austin, it's all paper?
Or you just bring your own bag, like some
I like
places.
that, yeah.
Kind of like Trader Joe's.
Right, I like that.
Okay, so I had an idea that I told a couple people, I said, let's start a strawless campaign. And so it kind of turned into something bigger than that. So now I'm in the process of starting a project that helps restaurants focus on their plastic usage and them becoming no waste restaurant and aiding them with sustainable alternatives.
Girl, you're setting up yourself for consulting.
Okay, so we've named it Zilch. And this is actually the first time I'm kind of talking about it to a lot of people. But I have some key partners that are helping me get this started. I have no idea where it's going to lead to. But if anyone would like to contact me if they like this idea with any more information of other sustainable...
So if a restaurant owner wanted to contact you and say, tell me more about this, how can you help us? But it seems like it would be more economical for the restaurant also. Could they not save money?
Oh, they'll definitely save money because they're not buying straws, which aren't that expensive because they're plastic. So first we want to reduce the uses of straws. And by the way, the reason why plastic straws are such a big deal, they're the smallest plastic thing out there that we use so much of. We use 500 million straws a day alone in the United States.
That's crazy.
And just to put that in perspective, every single straw you've ever used is still out there because they don't compost our...
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, so I'm going with a couple of people. We're starting this project. And we're going to put on several different campaigns. We're going to try to get restaurants to take pledges to reduce their waste and become plasticless.
I love that. You have so many awesome things going. And we could probably, I may have to have you back.
Okay.
Because, we don't have enough time to talk about everything.
So that is why I was going to go to Utah and work on a goat farm for the summer. They have bees, and I've always been interested in raising bees. But now this kind of zilch has taken off, and I don't know what it's going to lead to, so I've decided to stay for at least 6 months.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
Or whatever happens.
So you'll be here this summer?
Yes.
Can we hike?
Yes.
Really?
Let's do it.
Oh my gosh. I would be so honored to hike.
Okay.
With a legend.
No.
Yes.
You're going to I'm so out of shape right now. You're going to
Girl,
blow me under the water.
I'd be lucky to do 5 miles a day right now.
That's fine. That's a start.
All right.
I did 4 miles one day.
Woo!
Okay? So it doesn't matter if you do half a mile or 40 miles in one day.
Just do it.
If you're getting out there,
right.
That's exactly what.
That's what we need to be doing.
Okay.
So thank you for joining us today. We like to end... Historically, we've ended, in all the history of our 2-3 shows, we've ended with a quote from a strong woman. But today we have an outdoor quote, and Heather's going to deliver it for us.
Okay, so this is from a book that I'm rereading right now called Hunger Mountain. It's by David Hinton. And this quote stands out to me, and when I read it, I was just crying. But anyway, To walk through a landscape is to walk through a culture, for it is culture that determines both what we are and what a landscape is for us.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I'd like to point out that we are influencing culture right now.
Yeah.
So not only the culture of our immediate area, but because of the internet, we can be out there and we're inspiring people and inspiring each other, and that's what we're here for.
Yes.
So,
thank you so much for doing this.
for
I love
coming.
it. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
Oh,
And this is so soft.
I know, and it's okay. So thank you for joining us today. If you would like a show like this, let me know. Just find me on Facebook, PM me, or call me. I'm out there everywhere. I'll hook you up with my production team, and we are going to sign off.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Bye, guys.
Bye.